Our Yoruba, as we go forward in this struggle, oh, Shepataki, Karantinye, if we do not consciously seek to be truthful, consciously love truth, no matter how erudite we might be, no matter how eloquent we might be, we will not lead our nation forward. It is impossible. And so the message that I have been asked to give on this platform this morning is Yoruba people love truth. And the truth will guide you to the destiny that God has prepared for you. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to illustrate with that. I have this habit that when I hear that any Yoruba person has achieved something of significance anywhere in the world, I rejoice and I want to contact them and see whether I can contribute to their accomplishments and their greatness. It is a habit with me. It has been so with me since I was only a little child in university. And so many years ago, when I was the leader of Odua Foundation in the United States, I was the founder and leader of Odua Foundation in the United States. And Odua Foundation was founded for the purpose of doing serious investigation and research into how membership of Nigeria was affecting the Yoruba nation. And we did very serious research. We started as a small organization, but people heard about us and came to join us. And so we had members in many countries of the world, as far away as Australia. So that when we held our conferences in Pennsylvania or New Jersey or Delaware in the United States, people came from various countries, faraway countries. So I heard in those days that there was a Yoruba woman who had accomplished some very significant things in Britain, in London. And I finally found out about my sister, Eredu Ayonide Tunwashe. And we have contacted her, but I was very, very busy at the time, traveling in various parts of the world, that we lost contact. And so since I came back to Nigeria, especially in the past 1 year or so, I have been invited and found the invitations to her programs. And I have come. She doesn't know anything about me. She doesn't know the kind of person that I am. I knew only a little bit about her, especially her eminent accomplishments in Britain. And because she didn't know, I'm not blaming her, of course, because that is a common tendency. Because she didn't know anything about me, she started to treat me like some intruder, some side issue, some fly in the ointment. And she will talk about, oh, I find it very lamont, don't shake me, lucky better. Later, Professor Akintoye'S can she go, I kept attending because I thought, well, okay, that's all right. She's my sister. She doesn't know much about me. Finally, she will find out, and she will be a little more respectful of me. But it didn't change. So at some point, I stopped excusing myself, saying, I'm sorry, I cannot come. One of my sons, Tony Killer, finally communicated the message, Baba doesn't attend your kind of programs. I'm sorry for that situation. I am not that type. I don't talk to a Yoruba person in any angry manner. I never. It's a policy that I have vowed before my God. No matter what any Yoruba man does, I don't get angry with them. And my principle is this, that we Yoruba have become like slaves in Nigeria. And slaves should not be fighting among themselves. Slaves should be fighting on earth. And so,
unmute yourself, Prof.
And so it went on naturally. In a situation like that, when you do not know about a thing and you are really too apathetic to that thing, you tend to escalate. You tend to escalate your response, your kind of response. And so it came that persons who were very close to me, who are still very close friends of mine, and who are working with me, situation arose in the organization. They broke away. We decided to make some changes and so on and so forth. And in their anger, things that they could never have said about me before, things that they never said about me before, they started to say. But that's what anger does. Anger distorts the image of the person you are angry with. And you begin to see in them evils that you never saw before, that are not really there, but your mind is building up. And so they began to spread news about me being a war and so on. We had never quarreled about money in the Yoruba World Congress. And nobody had ever said that I was giving any money or I had said, and I had never said anybody was giving me money, some money that they did not know. No. That was, I can lie here, she belongs to the center of it. That was a thing that never existed among us. But now, because that is the tradition of these times in Nigeria, if you're angry with somebody, you begin to make allegations about money and so on and so on about that. That's the natural, that's the tendency now among our people. And so, my sister she took it off, and her principle simply was, I know these people. That man, Akintoye, I don't know him. Therefore, whatever they must be saying about him, whatever they are saying about him must be true. So she accepted it and began to spread it around the world. There was a platform owned by one young doctor in America, Ario. And I was represented as somebody who had stolen money, who had there, and that is the reason for the quarrel, and so on and so forth. She could easily have found out by asking me. She couldn't reach me by asking other people. It is not true. I want to say it here now that we never quarreled about money in the Yoruba World Congress. There was some little difficulty at some point, and it arose not from the fact that the person concerned stole any money, and I would defend him everywhere. It arose because what we needed the money for, to do that thing quickly, and people began to grumble. We received the money from a friend who was going to give me, Banji Akintoye, personally money. And he said he would buy a car for me. I said, no, I don't need all those things. What I need is money for the Yoruba World Congress. Because the Yoruba World Congress wants to establish a secretariat in Lagos. And he asked me, how much do you need? I said, I don't know anything about real property in Lagos. And he decided to send me dollars. And in the presence of many people, I handed the money to the treasurer. And it is because when the young men went out to begin to look for houses. We now have the money and so on. The money was not immediately forthcoming to buy the house. And we lost one house, we lost another. Akintoye was right in the center. That is when rumors started. But by and by, we got the money. And I cannot tell you, I have never told anybody, because I know it is not true. When people say, oh, so we didn't have a quarrel about money. And, I can put 10,000, come from Prof. There's nobody who gave me 10,000 naira anywhere. Nobody. The only other person, apart from the person I have just said who gave me money, another close friend, somebody I had known since my undergraduate days. He called me and said he was hearing all this noise about me and asked whether he could help. I said, yes, he could help. Because at that time, we had done the secretariat in Lagos and our people in Ibadan were angry. And we needed to hurry to create a secretariat in Ibadan. So I went to see him. I was in trouble, people in Ibadan. And he asked, what can I do? I said, yeah, I need money to go and rent an office in Ibadan. So he gave us 2,000 naira, 2 million naira. And then when it was not sufficient, I called him and he gave us 5,000 naira more. And we spent all the money on renovating the house, making it beautiful and so on. We happened to have a very, very creative young man who knew how to do it, and she did it excellently. And that is all. After that, we were spending our own money, especially people like me, like George Akintoye, like Victor Taiwo, like and so on. Victor Taiwo invited me to a meeting in his house, a meeting that was very important for our purposes. And I was surprised that he was able to provide food, provide drink for the people there. And I knew he must have been spending a lot of money, and he had never asked anybody for money. So when the meeting was over, I called him aside. I said, I know you are spending a lot of money. Don't let me ask how much. But when I get to Lagos, I will send you some money. That was our relationship. We gave George Akintoye an assignment to go and do something, and he was spending so much money on it of his own that I called the meeting and I said, no, it's not fair that we should let one of our young men be spending so much money. Let us give him some of his money back. In fairness to Akintoye, he was not expecting that we will pay him back. He was not going to ask. It was I who compelled him to go and give us a bill so we can pay you some of your money back. We cannot be owe you all this money. And he brought the bill, and we paid only a part of it. And that's the way we operated. And I, as the father of all, I more or less compacted my life together with that of Yoruba World Congress. Whatever money I had in my account was money that is personally sent to me by my children, or from my pensions, or from my or from my publishers. I treated as money that was available for the Yoruba World Congress. And everybody, and I knew that. We were not forcing anybody to contribute, but people were contributing. Young men like Kila, young men like Akintoye, young men like Victor Taiwo, young men, and so on and so forth. If anybody said, somebody gave us 20 million naira, while they are 70 million naira, he was lying. He's lying, but he's lying because of anger. Something, a product of anger. We fell out with one another. Anger came into the scene, and people began to say untrue things about one another. I would never say any untrue thing about anybody. Likely because I have a vow registered in heaven. I would never, because I know the destructiveness of anger. I would never let myself surrender myself to anger. So I don't say nasty things about people. But I had nasty things being said about me. And and so now, after some time, after I didn't talk, I didn't answer, after it gradually became a little clear that a lot of the things that people are saying about this Banji Akintoye must be true. Then I had people now say, oh, Professor Akintoye has apologized, and we must now forgive him. Who spoke to me that I apologized to? Nobody ever spoke to me. I didn't apologize to anybody. I never even complained about my friends who are angry with me. I never complained about them to anybody. So who is it that I apologize to? Why am I saying these things? The Yoruba people know one thing from the beginning, that truth is the thing that builds a society. When Oduduwa became the king of, you might have come to the knowledge of these things from other sources. I come to it from my own study and research in Yoruba. When Oduduwa became the first king of Ilefe, the one thing that he emphasized, above all other things, was truth in the relationship among people. Yeah. So much so that it led a society that has been fragmented, with fighting one another for more than 100 years. It led it into a coherent new city that was the beauty of the world. And so he was given the name Oduduwa as his people's gratitude for what he had done. In a palace, in one of the old palaces during my research in the 1960s, I encountered a song, a very ancient song that is sung in that palace. I believe they still sing it there now. I'm not a good singer, but I remember it goes something like this. Otito baba aderinse lomo lewu isegi o, eri mo fon ipe, won fon ipa jaka. What does that mean? That truth is the father of all virtues. That Oduduwa held on to virtue, clutched virtue, hugged virtue as a child, as a baby. And that because of that, he was able to, all the powers that rule the world, that order the world, were working. That he was so strong, in fact, that he could alone go to war and come back victorious. That is it. And even elephants in the bush will gather and pipe and sing his praises. That is it. We must return to that. We must return to being truthful in the way we lead the Yoruba nation. The Yoruba nation has suffered a lot. And those of us who have come out to work for the liberation and revival of the Yoruba nation must learn to do it on the basis of truth only. If we don't, we will not succeed. But I pray that we will succeed, and that's why I intend at this appearance of mine to emphasize the whole question about truth.
Thank you. We have. I'm so sorry, Professor. We've spent 26 minutes. Normally it's 20 minutes, but you now have 4 minutes because it's now 26 past. Please.
Thank you. So who is this Professor Akintoye? My memoir has been written and it will be published at some time when I feel like having published. And My beginning in the politics of the Action Group, I was a young boy, 24 years old, 1959. 4 of us gathered in the University College in Ibadan and decided to found an Action Group Student Association. Abiodun Falade, myself, David Oke, and the woman who is now my wife, whom I married a few years later. And we became creators of the Action Group Student Association. And Baba came and inaugurated it in a big meeting in Trenchard Hall. And then the crisis in Yoruba land started. And we graduated to become the Yoruba Youth Association, the Action Group Youth Association, with Chief Fasame, our leader, and I as his vice president. And I won't say more than that. The Action Group Youth Association was very critically important in the crisis that then grew today, the Western region. When Papa was in prison, we were the ones who used to send delegations, who used to go on delegation to go and see him. And it was in one of those meetings that he said, Banji, you're a young man, boy. Never let young men tend to get angry. In these things that you are doing, never let anger take hold of your heart. And so when he came out of prison, we surrounded him. We who are intellectuals in Ife provided much of the intellectual material for the founding of the UPA. And I was one of the central persons in that caucus. That is why I became chairman of many of the committees that wrote the position papers of the UPA. And Papa asked me to write the manifesto of the party. When I wrote the manifesto of the party, I was only 42 years old. I should not forget that in 1964, I was only 29 years old when I was suddenly nominated by the Action Group in Ekiti as a candidate for election to the House of Representatives. We were winning that election very handsomely until the leaders of Ogba asked to boycott it. So I am not some fly in the ointment. I have been at this struggle all my life, all my adult life, in addition to my academic work. And I can now say to you all that my coming back home, I didn't come back home to lead anybody or do any fighting. At the age of 80, I was coming back home to rest, do some research, write, and go to be with my maker. But I found that it was not going to be so. And I have received a message that the Yoruba nation will be saved, will be liberated, and that we should struggle to liberate it. My sister, everybody who is listening, I am happy to work with you. In a couple of weeks, I will be 86. And I should be telling you, oh, I'm too old, so I will not tell you that. I'm going to work and guide you as much as is within my capability until the Yoruba nation is truly free. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I've taken more minutes than I should take, but I thank you very much that you have allowed me. The Yoruba nation is a great nation. We have been a great nation for many, many centuries, long before any other black African nation began to see the light. It is not Yoruba, it is not white people that civilized us. We were far civilized before they came. By the time the first white people began to come to the coast of West Africa in about 1470, we Yoruba were already living in great cities. By the 19th century, we were one of the most urbanized peoples on earth. When the education Europeans brought education to Africa in the middle of the 19th century. The fact that we lived in cities made us most quickly able to benefit from the education. The first newspaper that was published in the whole of Black Africa was published in Abeokuta in 1859. And other newspapers followed in Nevada and Lagos. So that's who we are. We are not barbarians whom the white man came to civilize.
Thank you very much.
But we are being treated now in Nigeria as if we are nothing.
Thank you.
And it is time for us to put ourselves together and liberate our nation.
Thank you.
That's why I decided to tell the truth today.
Thank
that
you.
there is a lot that we can achieve together if we will be more truthful, more respectful of one another as we go forward. I thank you all very much. My sister, thank you for giving me this opportunity this morning.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Professor. What a way to commence this program. If you've just joined me, I am Mary Tuwashe, and the purpose of this particular slot, the 3rd of January 2021, is our New Year's dedication to Yoruba freedom. Those of you who did see my flyer will notice I said the price of success is hard work. And everything you have to do it with love, passion, and dedication. Professor Akintoye has really shown love. If I doesn't love me, he will say some of the things he has said. I thank you for saying them. And he's shared with us hard work, all the hard work he's done to get him to where he is, to contribute meaningfully to the life of the Ife Oodua people. And some of us will wonder, but the topic is freedom versus slavery for the Yoruba nation. Freedom versus slavery for the Yoruba nation, the way forward in 2021. Professor has, as Ìyàwó Ifá, Ìyàwó Ọ̀rúnmìlà, òtítọ́ ṣòdodo, ṣòtítọ́ ṣòdodo, ẹbí ṣòtítọ́ ni máa lẹ̀ ń gbé. Papa has done us proud. He's chosen to focus on the truth and how the truth is bitter. It is bitter. And if we are going to deliver Yoruba nation, those of us who keep saying we must have God to do a nation, we must have freedom for Yoruba nation, only the truth will deliver us. But we have to start by delivering ourselves. Deliver yourself. So what Professor was saying is that it doesn't matter what you may have been hearing. He seems to be saying there's always the other side of the coin. Personally, myself, I'm always excited when hundreds of allegations that, according to law, says remains facts until proved otherwise. It remains facts until proved otherwise. Thank you very much, Professor. Oh, I can say a lot of things. I've sat down.
Thank you.
Baba,
God bless you.
I can tell you a lot of things, but some of us won't be watching all on you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama. And you early in your life and give all the eminence that He has given you. God will use you for the glory of the Yoruba nation.
Ashe. Èmi àti Papa Àjàmọ́sìn, wọ́n rò pa ìjà tẹ̀lé. Inú mi dùn. Papa, you said something. And many people watching, they'll be wondering, Baba Akintoye, ìtàn sọ. Inú ìtàn láti ń gbọ́ tọrọ. Baba Akintoye wà lẹ́nu sí pé, tá a bá fẹ́ tẹ̀síwájú, àkọ́kọ́ máa jáwọ́ nínú ẹ̀rù irọ́. We must free ourselves from the bondage of liars. We must open ourselves up to the truth. Papa has done us proud. He started by laying down lots of important issues, and I'm delighted you did, because I can write books, lots of accusations left here and there, but thank you very much, because you have told us nothing but the truth is true. Papa was crying where the money, Burahan Kanka. As far as I'm concerned, I'm delighted that you've been able to lay the cards on the table, and I hope that that's the case. So, point one, let us dedicate ourselves to the truth. Let us dedicate ourselves to the truth. Truth is bitter. You see, Papa has exemplary. He has told it as he believes it should be told. Yes, he did that. Let us, as far as I'm like that, though, people know me. And I stand to be corrected. So he's also gone on to say, we always say we are Yoruba. We don't know each other. We don't know each other. It is true. Baba, thank you very much. We don't spend enough time knowing each other. You know, Baba, let me tell you the secret. The other day, I want to find out, because I hear you are Ekiti. So I rang somebody. I said, what are the things that Ekiti people don't like if they are in an organization? They told me, okay. Now, I rang Ijebu people. What don't you like? I discovered the two are different. So I'm somebody who loves learning about people, because I was brought up in an arena of getting to know people. So you want to be free, Yoruba people? You want a Yoruba nation? Get to know whoever is around you in an organization. Professor, many organizations, Yoruba organizations, they don't know each other. The members don't know each other. They don't. They don't take time out. They're in our sort of Anglo-Saxon way. We go away for retreats. So one lesson here, Yoruba organizations that are out there, please go out for what we call one day retreat. Sit down, get to know each other, talk to each other. The truth is bitter, but please, wọ́n ní tí ọmọ ìyá àti ọmọ bàbá tán bá wọlé tí wọ́n jáde tán rẹ́rìn-ín wọ́n bára wọn sòótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ni. We must dedicate ourselves to the truth. One other lesson we've learned this morning, respect. We must respect ourselves and respect others. And we must, in every way, find a way to relate to even people who may have the wrong impression, opinion about us. Now, never be on the enmity platform. No enmity. Are you with me? I am so excited about today, because this year is starting right. Yes? Please. Did Papa apologize to anybody? He told us today he never apologized to anybody. If I tell you the number when I'm fighting, why? I will tell you, Professor, I've asked many people, what has this Baba done for you? They have a long list of all sorts of things. Now, allegations. But today, I'm delighted you have said one important thing. Whatever you may hear about somebody else, be responsible, find a way to complete it on the other side. So, what a wonderful way to open today's topic about freedom versus slavery. Freedom is the truth. Slavery is what? Lies. You can never be free if you are in what some people call darkness. To me, darkness is when you have little information. So relationships, very important. Relationships, very important. And part of a relationship is trying to get to know each other. Get to know each other. Thank you. Although Papa didn't say so, well, he said in his contribution, well, she didn't know me anyway. So what? So this is what he had impression. She started talking about me. I always love the dog too, wherever they are. So, Baba, thank you very much.
Ṣé màmá wa? Ọlọ́run á fún ẹ ṣe.
Àṣẹ. So let's me.
Mo máa wá, but mo ti darúgbó. Mi ò lágbára tó yín mọ́.
Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ sọ pé lẹ́yìn Professor you carry on.
Mi ò ní kúrò lẹ́yìn yìí, màá máa gáìdì yín ní eléyìí tó ṣe láàárọ̀ yìí.
Ẹ ṣeun. Thank you very much.
Ẹ kú iṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run á fún wa ṣe o.
Àṣẹ. Let us free ourselves and start with the truth. On that note, I'm going to invite Alàgbà George Akinola to pull out for us some of the salient points and, as usual, address the topic for the day: freedom versus slavery for Yoruba nation. The way forward. Alàgbà Akinola, you have just 10 minutes. Please share your thoughts with us. Alàgbà Akinola, are you with us?
Bàbá wa ló wà lórí ọpọ́n láàárọ̀ yìí. Àwọn point kọ̀ọ̀kan tí wọ́n máa bá wa ọ̀nà tí láàárọ̀ yìí. Ìkíní, gbogbo treaties tá a bá òyìnbó sign. They were not treaties of conquest, though. They were not treaties of subjugation. They were treaties of trade and cooperation. Òyìnbó unilaterally abrogate. That's number one. Number two, 1914, but I signed treaty pẹ̀lú òyìnbó. Àmì tí òyìnbó ṣe amalgamation tó ń ṣe. Àbáwọn sign treaty kankan nígbà yẹn o. Àwọn náà ṣe amalgamation fúnra wọn. They sign. Yorùbá méjì ló wà nínú àwọn tó wà lórí ètò yẹn, ṣùgbọ́n kò sí ọmọ later day Nàìjíríà kankan tó sign. Òyìnbó fúnra wọn lára gbogbo 28 mẹ́fà jẹ́ ọmọ present day Nàìjíríà, ṣùgbọ́n 22 tó kù òyìnbó ni wọ́n. Àwọn òyìnbó yẹn náà dẹ̀ sign fún north and south. Ìyẹn jẹ́ ìkejì amalgamation. Ìkẹta ni pé nígbà tá à ń bọ̀ ní independence in 1960. There was a particular constitution that was agreed. Pé 4, 5, 6 years later, àwọn málà àtàwọn sójà àwọn àtàwọn kíní wọn dá gbé ẹrú wọ́n suspend constitution. Ó jẹ́ mẹ́ta. Ìkẹrin ni pé nígbà tó yá wọ́n tó ṣe constitution kan lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí alágbádá wọlé wọ́n pè ní 1979 constitution. Ìgbà tí wọ́n ṣe kan 1999 constitution tó fi gbé this latest civilian government wọlé. Ìyẹn fúnra wọn náà ṣe. They say we the people having come together to write the constitution and say hereby write the constitution. Irọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀. It was fraudulent. It was a constitution that told a lie about itself. Bàbá àtúbà àtọ̀nà sí yẹn náà. Ìkarùn-ún ni pé constitutional force majeure tá a ti declare. Bàbá jẹ́ one of the leaders of that constitutional force majeure sovereignty dispute. So bàbá máa bá wa tọ̀nà sí ń jẹ́ márùn-ún bí gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe jẹ́ nìyẹn. Ọ̀rọ̀ mi ò jù báyìí lọ. Bàbá wa sà, thank you.
Ẹ ṣé. Nǹkan tí ó wà ọ̀rọ̀ force majeure ni ó fún àjọṣe contract. Mo máa bá ẹ ṣe nǹkan báyìí. Ó dẹ̀ máa san nǹkan báyìí fún mi. That's a contract. Tó bá di wípé ó hùwà kan tí ò ní jẹ́ kí èmi kó lè ṣe part of my contract. Èmi lè wá ránṣẹ́ sí ẹ wípé well, you have created a force majeure tí ò ní jẹ́ kí n lè ṣe nǹkan tá a lá máa ṣe o. Tí mi ò lè bá ẹ ṣe mọ́ o. Bí wípé àjọ pèrò pé o fẹ́ kọ́ factory ńlá kan, èmi ni mo mọ̀ ọ́ kọ́ mo máa bá ẹ kọ́. Mò ń wá síbẹ̀, mò ń bá ẹ tọ́jú ẹ̀. Ìgbà tó yá mo wá discover pé wá lọ ń fẹ́ ìyàwó mi ò lè bá ẹ ṣiṣẹ́ pọ̀ mọ́. ó ti create force majeure mi ò lè bá ṣiṣẹ́ pọ̀ mọ́ contract yẹn ò lè lọ mọ́ ibi tí n bá ṣe dé náà la máa ló parí sí bó ṣe jẹ́ nìyẹn. Àwa Nigeria is a contract. There were 3 regions, later 4, constitutionally made. The Western region, the Eastern region, the Northern region, and later the Midwest region. Àjọṣe constitution 1963 ni. A ti become independent o. Eléyìí kì í ṣe pé independence constitution mọ́, this is our own constitution. Ìgbà yẹn la wá ṣe federal republic. Before then, we were just a federal country. We became a federal republic and appointed our own head of state and called him a president. Then we elected our prime minister and the other members of the House of Representatives. That is the last real constitution of Nigeria. Gbogbo constitution ilé ìtàn wa ń ṣe lẹ́yìn yẹn kan dàrú ní 1967. January 1966 July táwọn northerners wá gbà á nọ́dẹ̀ wá ń gbà léra lẹ́yìn yẹn northern coup northern military ruler nọ́dẹ̀ wá ń kó gbogbo power tó wà nínú federation yẹn gbogbo power tá a jọ ṣe ní 1963 tó wà ní federation ẹ̀dẹ̀ wá kó gbogbo eléyìí tó jẹ́ tàwọn region. Ẹ̀dẹ̀ kó gbogbo ẹ̀ pátápátá ìwà kò sọ́wọ́ federal government. Regions wọ̀nyẹn ká má bàa lè sọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ ẹ pín wọn sí wẹ́wẹ́. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni nǹkan tó jẹ́ nǹkan gidi tán ti create gbogbo ẹgbàá fún federal government. Ẹ wá ṣe ìkan lára yín wá jókòó ní 1967 lóhun àti àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ ẹ̀ nìkan. Wọ́n wá kó gbogbo nǹkan wọ̀nyẹn papọ̀ sínú constitution kan ní 1999. 68 items of power and resource control. Kó gbogbo any exclusive power of the federal government lélẹ́yìí o. Any there are 30 areas of power and resource control to state ti lè act. But the federal government náà lè act nínú wọ̀nyẹn náà o. And where there is a conflict between the federal government and the state government in any of those, the wish of the federal government will supervene. In short, kò sí ìjọba nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà mọ́ the federal government. I am the executive governor of Ekiti State. I'm executive governor of Oyo State. I'm executive governor of Osun State. Of Lagos is a lie. You are not executive governor of anything. All power in Nigeria is in the Abuja. That's the truth of the matter. Níjọ́sí àwọn gómìnà wa parapọ̀ àwọn mẹ́fẹ̀ẹ̀fà wọn ṣòfin Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn wọn àìní wa ń dùn sí wọn àjò mọ́ wọn ayọ̀ mọ́ wọn. Ǹjẹ́ wọ́n lè ṣe? Wọn kò lè ṣe é ṣe torí federal government ò fẹ́. Kò sí bàbá láàmú náà tó lè lóun ṣe gómìnà state anywhere in Nigeria tó lè ṣe nǹkan tí federal government ò bá fẹ́. Tó o bá ṣe o ní you can't rule your state anymore. Tó o bá ṣọ́ra gan-an. Àwọn federal agents á wá bribe àwọn House of Assembly wọ́n impeach ẹ. Lọ́ọ̀ bó ṣe jẹ́ nìyẹn. So for us, the original peoples of Nigeria who entered into the constitutions that were formed in the 1950s, 1957 to 9, and who then, after independence, sat down and created a new constitution and contributed our sovereignty into Nigeria. Now find that the federal government has taken everything. We have no power anymore. Our rulers have no power anymore. Federal government owning everything. They have made it impossible for us to do our part of the contract that I entered into in 1963. And so we now have filed a constitutional dispute with the federal government to say there is a force majeure. We can no longer continue to be citizens under this arrangement. Therefore, you have created for us a reason for not wanting to be under it anymore. That is the meaning of force majeure. We sat down and created a contract Then you surreptitiously began to erode the contract, the terms of the contract, until the contract is no longer there. Therefore, we are no longer bound to be with you. That's it. So that's what we have filed. And we have filed it with the United Nations. We have filed it with the government of Nigeria. We have filed it with some other interested governments in the world. And everywhere we have gone, people say, wow, this is a sensible one. We are not saying we are seceding right away. No. If we say we are seceding right away, then we are causing trouble. Then you will bring war, and we will have to fight and defend ourselves, and then there will be another civil war, and so on. No, we haven't done that. So people praise us. People are praising us in the most important places in the world for a very, very sensible approach to the problem that confronts us. And so we have given the federal government 90 days to make arrangements for us, if it is possible, to return to our original relationship. So then we can also return to our original relationship. If they don't, then we don't return to any relationship with them at all. And that is that's the situation. And so, what is it that we need now, we Yoruba? First, we have succeeded in creating an alliance that has done this first major thing, and that has placed the federal government with a 90-day proposition. We must keep that alliance going. We are Yoruba. We are central to it. We must keep it going. That's the first thing. Not let it disintegrate. We must not let any of the members, the South-South, the South-East, the South-West, the Middle Belt, all together constituting about 75% of the population of Nigeria. If we can keep them together, we can accomplish anything. Secondly, we Yoruba must now really sit down. Organization by any organization yoku no nampa won se nkan kan kini kan pa te se kan dada apenu estelu Yoruba World Congress pe kinan pe UNPO àwọn register Yoruba Nation in it, which is a big thing. Àwọn kan ní rárá kò yẹ kò wúlò kò dámà kankan kò ṣe kìnnì kan ẹ máa bẹnu ẹ tẹ́lu àṣẹ. Àtúnṣe yẹ first major lẹ́nu jẹ́ máa tún publish àwọn kan tuntun pẹ́rẹ́ tàjáde wúwà dé wúwà kìnnì kan ṣòro ara wọn náà kọ síbẹ̀ kankan. Ẹ jẹ́ ká stop ìwọ̀n yẹn. Gbogbo ọgbọ́n tá a bá lè dá tá a máa stop ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe. A nídìí láti bá àwọn tó ń ṣe wọ̀nyẹn jà. Nǹkan tá a nídìí láti ṣe sí wọn ni ká bẹ̀ wọ́n pé kán jọ ẹ jẹ́ ká gba Yorùbá yìí sílẹ̀. Ẹ má máa ṣe bíi pé ọ̀tá Yorùbá ni yín, because ẹ kì í ṣọ̀tá Yorùbá. Ọlọ́run ò dá yín lọ́tá Yorùbá. Ọlọ́run dá yín ní ọmọ Yorùbá, ọmọ ní ò kì í ṣọ̀tá ní. Àgbẹ̀ta nídìí láti bẹ̀ wọ́n nìyẹn. Nǹkan kejì tá a nídìí láti ṣe nìyẹn. Lẹ́nu jẹ́ ẹ̀ṣọ́ àgùdọ̀ and Erelu.
Yes, sir.
Gbogbo wa tá a jẹ́ àgbà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, we need to sit down and find how to create a collaboration between our many organizations. Ní kẹ́pa organization yín rẹ̀ kò sẹ́ Yorùbá tó bá ti dá organization sílẹ̀ kò sẹ́ni tó lè ní kán parẹ́ àṣà tiwa nìyẹn. Láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ayé làwa ti máa ń dá organization sílẹ̀. Tí nǹkan bá rú Yorùbá lójú àbí tí inú bá ń bí wọn wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ wọn ti dá organization sílẹ̀ láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ayé láti ṣe. In the 9th century, ńgbà tá ti create the kingdom of Ife tán ti fẹ́ Oòduà jọba wọn tán, àwọn kan kórajọ wọn pera wọn ní ìmọ̀lẹ̀. Wọ́n sọ pé ìmọ̀lẹ̀ àwọn tó mọ ilẹ̀. And you know what their purpose was? To make sure that the government of the king will not be able to take the land of the families. that was their purpose. So we Yoruba, that's who we are. When the Yoruba Yoruba, 3 or 4 Yoruba people sit in a place and they're talking about the problem of their village, or the problem of their community, or the problem of their kingdom, or the problem of their Yoruba nation, they immediately constitute themselves into a committee and create a committee, an organization, and then find people to join them, and they become. If you are asking them to dissolve it because you want to achieve something, they die alone. So the answer is not to tell our organizations to dissolve and join together and become one. The answer is to get them to agree to collaboration. Our target leaders láàárín àwọn organization yẹn á gbọ́dọ̀ ṣètò ká níbì kan tá a ti ń pàdé tá a ń sọ̀rọ̀ ara wa. A nílò láti ṣèyàn ní kíá. A ṣètò ibì kan tá a ti máa pàdé, tá a ti máa ṣètò ara wa, ètò Yorùbá. Our target leaders of these organizations. Admara wa olùgbà tá a ṣe wá lọ wá wọn káàkiri, we know the major organizations and the people who are leaders there. Let us find a way to join together and hold periodic meetings to compare notes and to strengthen the struggle. Thirdly, we must work speedily to have a referendum. Referendum bá máa jẹ́ nǹkan tó máa di ìjà ká ṣe irú nǹkan tí àwọn Scotland ṣe lẹ́nujọ́ mẹ́ta yìí. Opinion poll. Ní 5 years ago, 6 years ago, wọ́n ṣe referendum. But lélẹ̀ yìí báyìí wọ́n ní wọ́n ti ṣe referendum ariwo nìyẹn. Opinion poll náà wọ́n ṣe. And the opinion poll has now found that 85% of Scottish people want to have a separate Scottish country in the world, Scotland in the world. Àwa Yorùbá náà a lè ṣerú yẹn. Àwọn ọmọ wa tó mọ̀ ṣe wọ́n pọ̀, intellectuals, àwọn demographers with the knowledge of statistical creation of databases and so on. Wọ́n lè bá wa ṣe. Tí referendum máa fariwo. Irú eléyìí tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Catalonia in Spain, ká ìjọba wa sọ pé rárá ẹ̀ lè ṣe, kìnní kan ká máa gbé wa lọ sí kóòtù, kí kóòtù máa sọ pé ẹ̀ lè ṣe, káwa fúnra wa ṣàgbédúgà máa ṣe, ìjọba wa ọlọ́pàá àti sójà wa ká máa lù wá títì kàkà ká ṣe ìyẹn. Àwa rọra ṣe irú eléyìí táwọn Scotland ṣe jẹ́jẹ́jẹ́ opinion poll. And kí ni reason ta fi ní ìdí ẹ̀? We need to be able to stand before the world and say, our Yoruba, we want our independence. That 80%, 85%, 90%, 95% of Yoruba people support what we are saying here. And this is the evidence. We need to have that. In short, we need legitimacy for our statements. So we must have either a referendum or an opinion poll, and we must have it quickly.
Fourthly, can I say, I'll give you just 2 more minutes because after that, we have 90 minutes for other people to share their thoughts with us.
Okay, very good. Very good. Fourthly, we must find money. I have been speaking to the various organizations, and one of them has now stepped forward and created an account, which they call Yoruba something fund or Yoruba something fund. They are not an organization. They are just young men and women who determine that the Yoruba nation must move forward. And they have created so I have given them advice how they can create it to imitate the Jewish National Fund, which the Jews created in the early 20th century, which is now a humongous account containing trillions of dollars. We Yoruba, we can do so. And it is a good thing. Turkish organization can do that. Organization can do that. I want to knit down. I want to that. Turkish organization can come. They are just patriotic young men and women. And we must, I have promised them that I will help them to popularize it. I will get people in the diaspora to put money in it and people at home to put money in it. And within the next few months, we should have billions of dollars in that account. So that the Yoruba nation, kata àwọn Israel fi máa ń yan gbọ̀n nìyẹn. Tàbá ní ẹnìkan lérí máa owó yẹn wà ń bẹ̀ tó ń gbé. Ibẹ̀ náà ti máa mélé tán máa finish olúwa. Àwa náà Yorùbá ní ìdírú ẹ̀ o. Ẹ kú kalẹ̀, ẹ ṣé.
Thank you very much. Ẹ ṣeun, Professor.